5 at the bottom. And if you again, please, if you want to, please recite with me. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abide. And then we'll move to page 126. Thank you, Jessica. It's always great doing this with Jessica because she does all the heavy lifting and I just have to look pretty.
It's the other way around.
And can I ask you to light the candles? Oh, you've lit your candles. Merle?
Yes.
As you've arrived, can I ask you to light the candles, please?
Men can do it too.
I know. So we'll now move to page 118 for the lighting of the candles. We'll just give Merle a minute to be ready. And if I could ask you to stand, please.
We have a whole minyan on Zoom.
Oh, there's a whole minyan on Zoom. Welcome everyone on Zoom. It's great that you're here. And I'm sorry, those of us here can't see your faces.
As these candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת
sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Thank you. Thank you, Merle. Thank you, Jessica. We'll now move to page 130 for the Chuna Ranana.
Lahuna ranana ladonai, lahuna ranana ladonai, ladonai, ladonai. Naria litzur yishenu, naria litzur yishenu, yishenu, yishenu. Dekadma, vana betoda likadma, vana betoda, betoda, betoda. Bismirot, narialo, bismirot, narialo, bismirot, narialo, bismirot, narialo,
So we're now into the Kabbalat Shabbat. We're welcoming Shabbat, and we'll go through the sequence of Psalms, moving up to Lecha Dodi. So we'll next do the second half of Psalm 96 on page 131, the last stanza at the bottom in Hebrew, if you'd like to recite with me. Yismechu hashemayim v'tegael haaretz, yiram hayam umeloho, ya'aloz sedai v'chol asher bo, Az yiranenu kol atzei ya'a, lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, v'yishpot tevel b'tzedek v'amin be'emunato. And then we will move to page 132 for Psalm 97, and Jessica will do Ozarua at the bottom of page 132.
When he says Jessica, that means all of us.
Zarua Yatzadi Ulishvele Simcha. O Zarua Yatzadi Ulishvele Simcha. O Zarua Yatzadi Ulishvele Simcha. Ulishvele Simcha. Kol Yisrael simcha, Kol Yisrael simcha. O Zarua Latzadik, Kol Yisrael simcha. O Zarua Latzadik, Kol Yisrael simcha. Kol Yisrael simcha, Kol Yisrael simcha. Or Zarua Latzadik, Kol Yisrael simcha, Kol Yisrael simcha, Kol Yisrael simcha.
They weren't very loud.
I couldn't hear them.
No. So we're going to move to Psalm 99. It starts on page 100. Apologies. This arrangement is not great for someone who needs two sets of glasses. So we're going to move to page 98. That starts on page 133. But we're going to do the second half of it at the top of page 134. And again, we'll do this in Hebrew, so if you're comfortable, please recite with me. Hariu ladonai kol haaretz, pitzchu v'rananu v'zameru. Zamru ladonai v'chino v'kol zimra. B'chatzorot v'kol shofar, hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai. Yiram hayam umelo'o, tevel v'yoshvei va. Naharot yimcha uchaf, yachad harim Yerenenu, Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, lishpot tevel b'tzedek Va'amim B'mishmeirim. It's a part that often gets sung, but I think it's good to recite it occasionally. And then we move to page 138 for the Lecha Dodi. And for the last verse, we'll stand and we'll face the entrance to welcome Shabbat. For the last verse.
For the last verse.
Of course, yeah. Thank you. You can be seated. And then we'll move straight to the last in the sequence, Psalm 92, Mizmor Shir.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, לזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד במו בחסדך, באמונתך הלילות.
So we've come to the end of the Kabbalat Shabbat. We're going to move to page 144. We'll do the Chatzi Kaddish as a break between the Kabbalat Shabbat and the Shema and its blessings. Once we've done the Chatzi Kaddish, we'll move to the Baruch Hu on page 146. And I'm going to ask Kosi when we get to the Baruch Hu to open the Ark. And there are the talit over there that you can get. So if you please stand for the Chatzi Kaddish and for the Baruch Hu. Yitgadol v'yitgadash me'rava Malmad yivrach yortei yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uvyomechon U'chayei lechol beit Yisrael B'agalav yisman karim V'yimeru Yehei shmei rabba me'orach Ve'amamo me'almaya Yitbarach Yishtabach v'yitpa v'yitramam v'yitnaseh V'yitada v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shnei l'kodesha rihu Ve'la min kol v'chata v'shirata Tushbachata v'nechamata Damiram Roma Inerum Amen. And then on to page 146. Kosi, if you just come and open the ark, please. Sorry to pick on people, I'm going to pick on some more people. Thank you. You can be seated. We'll move to page 148. We'll do the Ma'ariv Aravim. I think it's a very powerful part of our liturgy, both the traditional and the alternative versions on page 149. And I think we will do for today one of the alternate versions, on page 149 at the bottom. If you want to, please recite with me. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. And then we move to the Ahavat Olam on page 150. Thank you. That takes us to the Shema and supplementary readings. I attended the service at Bet David a couple of weeks ago, and at Bet David for the Shema and the blessings, they stand. And Rabbi Shimon told the story. It's a mistake perhaps to repeat someone else's story for the first time in a group like this, particularly when you're being recorded on Zoom, but I'll give it a go anyway. So he told the story of this new rabbi who arrives in a shul, and he gives his first, leads his first Friday night service, and he gets to the Shema, and half the congregation stand up, and half the congregation remain seated, and those who remain seated start shouting at those standing, telling them to sit down, and those who are standing start shouting at those who are seated and tell them to stand up. And this new rabbi is pretty shocked by what he sees and doesn't know really what to do. And somehow, it manages to work, and he gets through a bit shell-shocked the service. And afterwards, he goes up to one of the elders and says to her, I didn't understand what happened there. I don't understand what your traditions are. When we got to the Shema, half the people stood up. And the elder says, yes, that's our tradition. And then he says, well, but the other half sat down. He says, yes, that's also our tradition. And he said, but they were fighting with each other. Yes, that's also our tradition. So Beiteman, our tradition is to remain seated, but it's also our tradition that if you are more comfortable or you find it more meaningful to stand, you are more than welcome to, and certainly no one is going to shout at you. So if you would like to, we'll do the Shema, cover our eyes. Am I going to do the Shema? Right. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. And then we'll go to the supplementary blessings, page 154 at the top. We'll do the Hebrew. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וטבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. And then at the bottom of page 155, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, emet. And then we'll go to page 156 and 157 for the emet, which recapitulates where we are, and we'll do the alternate version at the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. And then on to page 158, Mechamocha.
מי כמוך באלם אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים.
Thank you. We'll now move to page 160 for the HHDs. And I'm just going to recite that section of HHDs that the choir normally sings. So that's at the top of the HHDs and then a bit further down. Ufras aleinu sukat shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai hapores sukat shalom aleinu. Baruch atah Adonai hapores sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. And now we turn to page 162 and we'll do the Yismechu at the bottom.
Yambidi bam bam bye, Shabbat, Shabbat. Yambidi bam bam bye, Shabbat, Shabbat. Yambidi bam bam bye, Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat. Yismachu, Yismachu b'malchutcha. Yismachu, Yismachu b'malchutcha. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat. V'korei onei Shabbat. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat. V'korei onei Shabbat. Aham v'kadesh sheli. Kulam yisrael ve'yitamu. Mitovecha Shabbat, Shabbat. Please join in. Yismachu, Yismachu b'malchutcha. Yismachu, Yismachu b'malchutcha. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat. V'korei onei Shabbat. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat. V'korei onei Shabbat. V'hor shevira tzitavo. רצית בו וקידשתו, חמדת ימים אותו קראת, זכר למעשה בראשית. ישמחו, ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת, שומרי שבת, וקוראי עונג עונג שבת. שומרי שבת, שומרי שבת, וקוראי עונג עונג שבת.
So we finished the Shema and its blessings, which is one important leg of the service. We move now to the next part of the liturgy, which is the Amidah. And it's the standing prayer, so I'm going to ask everyone to stand. And if I could ask Max and Lawrence to come and open and close the ark. So it's a bit cramped, but I think it's an important thing to do. So we'll start with the intention on page 165. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. And then page 164. Adonai sefer tifta ufia giteilatecha, eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor VaHanora, Elyon Gomel Chasedim Tovim, Vekonei HaKol, Vezocher Chazdei Avot Ve'Mahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. Amen. Page 168. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשניך. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממיתות חיי, ומציח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. Amen. Page 170. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, לא קדושים בכל יום ינוס הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. And then we'll move to page 172, 173, and we are going to do the alternate version in the middle. Disturb us, O God, ruffle us from our complacency, make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, O God, deny us to the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. And then at the top of page 175, Retzei Adonai Eloheinu ba'amcha Yisrael, utfilatam ba'ahava tikabel, utila ratzon tamid, avodat Yisrael amecha, Baruch atah Adonai she'otcha levadcha vayira na'avot. And then on to page 176, the Modim.
מודים אנחנו לך שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו אלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו מגן אישנו, צור חיינו מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור, לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקוד עליו, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלאתך וטובותיך שבכל עת. ערב בבוקר בצהריים, ערב בבוקר בצהריים, הטוב כי לא חלום רחמך, והמרחם כי לא תמוך חסדיך, לעולם קיווינו לך, קיווינו לך.
Then we move to page 178 for Shalom Rab.
Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה לשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
Thank you. We've come to the end of the Amidah, so we will close the ark now. And please be seated, and then there's time for a few moments of silent meditation, your own personal prayers, and then Jessica will bring us back together. And again, if you prefer to remain standing, you're most welcome to. Thank you, everyone. We now will move to the next part of the service, which is the Mishiberach. We'll move to page 511. So it's a time to remember those, It's a time to remember those in need, either those in our community, individuals we know, or people in the world at large. We have certain names in the community, and I'd like to mention David Figg, Michael Levy, Brian Siegel, Judith Soskin, Charlie Bates. Are there any other names that people would like to mention? And then I think it's appropriate to mention all those in physical and mental distress in the current conflict in the Middle East, and the hostages, all those people in Gaza, in Israel, and in the West Bank, all the Palestinian territories. We keep them in our hearts as well. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abram, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all those who are ill or in distress. May the Blessed One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Lost page. This week we explore ritual in two independent readings. Ritual is used in many places and it's expressed and it's described in great detail in the parashat that we are reading at the moment. So the two readings we're going to do is, first of all, this is Parashat Tzav, and in Parashat Tzav we explore sacrifices around well-being, for sin, guilt, ordination in great detail. In many ways, it's a continuation of what we spoke about last week, and it really shifts to speaking about the details of the ceremonies around ritual. And I'm not going to discuss Tzav today. We'll discuss it in a bit more detail tomorrow. Today is also Shabbat Parah. It's one of the special Shabbatot before Pesach, and it comes with an additional reading of the Torah that we will read tomorrow, Numbers 19, as well as a special Haftorah that we do instead of the usual Haftorah that we do for Shabbat Tzav. So Shabbat, so what Numbers 19 discusses is mysterious ceremony of the red heifer. Now, first thing I want to say about giving the sermon is that progressive Jews feel very uncomfortable about ritual. And I think actually not just progressive Jews. As far as back as Maimonides, Jewish thinkers have been uncomfortable about sacrifice, about many of the rituals that are described in the Torah, and see the developments in religion since the fall of the Second Temple as a very positive thing. But nevertheless, we have to confront these parashot and these special readings that deal with ritual. And nevertheless, I found it a bit of a challenge with everything that's happening in the world, and indeed what's happening in our shul, to talk about something that is perhaps the most esoteric part of our religious system. But I think that there is some value in that. Our ancestors found huge value in the rituals that are described, and perhaps there's something that we can get out of this as well. I must admit that before preparing for the Shabbat, my knowledge of this mysterious ceremony really came from Michael Chabon's book, An Alternative History, Yiddish Policemen's Union. We have a copy in the library, which deals with this as a central part of the plot. And that perhaps, although it's a great book, is not the best preparation for this discussion. So Numbers 19 deals with ritual purity. I think particularly concerning for progressive Jews, because in many ways today ritual purity is seen as very sexist in its manifestations. But I think it's important to understand that at least in the way it was envisaged initially, it's not about sin, it's not about dirt. There's nothing dirty about being being ritually impure. So many of the rules around ritual impurity are about life and death. There's nothing wrong in itself about being ritually impure. So for example, touching a dead body, which is the the central part of the reading tomorrow, it makes you ritually impure. But in fact, we know that preparing the body for burial and accompanying it to burial is regarded as a very important mitzvah. So in many ways, we are commanded to become ritually impure in many cases. Childbirth is definitely viewed as very positive, but it makes the mother ritually impure, and the other examples as well. Now, what the purpose of ritual impurity is long debated by our religious thinkers, by social anthropologists, but you'll be pleased to know that I'm not going to go into any great depth about those topics. In pre-temple and temple times, being ritually impure was a major disability, since you weren't allowed to participate in key parts of temple life, in sacrifice and the activities around sacrifices, and also because ritual impurity in some cases could be contagious. Today, because we can't perform those commandments and we fulfill our obligations by studying the commandments instead, there isn't actually a problem with being ritually impure. So why do we still need to study it? So perhaps one way of finding value in these readings is that major life events that are the sorts of things that make you ritually impure, whether they are negative, a death of someone close to you, or a very positive event in your life, can be destabilizing. It takes you out of normal life, whatever that might mean. And it's hard to participate in communal activities as a result. Our ancestors found value in rituals in which individuals who had gone through those sorts of life events were acknowledged by the community and supported through stressful times. And perhaps we can reimagine those rituals today. I certainly hope that that reimagination will not lead to reintroduction of an elaborate ceremony where we sacrifice the red heifer and we scatter its ashes or use its ashes in purification. But it could perhaps be a progressive reimagination of the mikveh or something else. I don't mean to suggest that that ritual in itself is sufficient. It is one of the critiques of traditional practice by the founders of Reform Judaism, and also found in many cases in the prophetic works, that the observation of ritual law could be very problematic because form replaces substance. It becomes an excuse for evil doing, for not doing something about evil around us. And of course, for people who've gone through stress in their life, we can't imagine that some ritual is magically going to make them whole again, or even if it's positive, take them back to where they came from. But perhaps it is something that can help. So I would suggest that maybe more ritual can be helpful, not as a substitute for substantive action or for substantive process, but as a way of helping build community. The foundation of our movement is ethical Judaism and the pursuit of tikkun olam, making the world a better place in partnership with God. The danger of ritual is that the form can replace the substance. But there are many lessons that we can see in ritual that help us build community, and these need not be in tension with the mission of tikkun olam. So I think those of you who come tomorrow, we will be able to explore this and have discussion in more detail about Shabbat Parah, as well as the Parashat Sad that we will read from tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're now going to move to the last part of the service. First, we're going to do the Aleinu, and if I could ask David and Ruby to come and open and close the ark. If you could all please stand. So we're going to do our traditional sequence, and just for those of you who may not have been here for a while, we're going to do the second version at the bottom of page 586. We'll then move to the top of page 588, and then we move to page 591. Aleinu עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא ראשית, שלא עשני כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, שגור עלינו ככל עמונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, מושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום שבתה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. Top of page 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Love each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו Let's remain standing. We'll move to the Kaddish. We do have some names in the community. We remember the yahrzeits of Anastasia Katz, the daughter of Doron Katz and Andriana Kirikou. Julius Katz, remembered by Ian Kesley. Ivan Rogoff, husband of Cheryl Rogoff. Trevor Silberman, husband of Suzette Silberman. Max Silverman, father of Melinda Silverman, and grandparents of Rosa and Lily. Simeon Tobias, husband of Becky Tobias. Are there any other names that people would like to remember? Thank you. Thank you. We also remember all those who've died in conflict over the last week. So we'll start at the bottom of page 597. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Zichronam levracha, may their blessings be for blessing. So we now move to the Kaddish. It's our custom to do this communally. There are many reasons for doing this. Partly we do this in support of those who have who are saying Kaddish for loved ones. We're also saying Kaddish for those who don't have anyone to say Kaddish for them. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabban, b'alma divrach yoroteh yamlich malchoteh, v'chayechon v'yemechon v'chayei techol Beit Yisrael, v'agala gizman karev v'yimru amen. Shmei Rabban mevarach ve'alam l'omei amaya. יתברך, ישתבח, יתפאר, יתרומם, יתנשא, יתהדר, יתהלל, יתהלל, שמי לקודשה, וכו'. לעילה מן כל בחרת לשירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, ואחים עמנו ועל כל ישראל, ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי ואמרו אמן. Thank you. please be seated. Is anyone here from Mancom to give announcements? I think there are, Russell, in the bulletin, so please look at that. And then I'd just like to thank everyone who's online in Zoom, all of those who are here tonight, Jessica in particular, and then Russell for helping set, and all the Beiteman staff for helping set up the service.
Thanks to you.
And we're going to end with
Don't know.
Olam on page 625, and there is really no excuse for not joining in this time.
This is the one where you clap.
Adon olam,
Clap, clap.
Hashem Allah, B'terem kol yetzer nivra, et nasa b'chetzor, azay melech shemo nikra, ve'acharei tikot hakol, v'vahado yimloch nora.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And the one group of thanks I didn't give is the security team, so thank you to all of those. So Shabbat Shalom. We're going to have an abbreviated Kiddush next door. Please, if you've got time, join us for the Kiddush. We're not going to have a full bracha, but we will do the Kiddush together.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you. Lovely service. Thank you. Hi, Neville.
Thank you so much.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, everybody.
Pleasure. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the work that you do.
No, well, somebody has to do it. Thank you.
Thanks, Russell.
Thanks very much. Lovely service.
Thank you.
Simon was here. Simon was here.
Yeah, no, I know.